Good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome to this another short story lesson. It's lesson 2. Now, if you haven't managed to do lesson 1 yet, don't worry, that's absolutely fine. You can go back and do that, but you will need to complete that lesson before you move on to this one. Okay, you need to use what you've done in lesson 1 for lesson 2. So if you've not done that yet, you need to go back that way. Today, what we're going to be looking at is following a structure to actually write a short story now. So hopefully you've got 3 or maybe 2 good ideas with a beginning, a middle, and end for your short stories. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that as a structure. We're going to add wee bits to it to actually write your story. Before we do that though, I feel I should give you a wee example. So I've got a short story for you here. It's called Like a Hoover. What do you think it could be about? There's a plane there, flying in the sky, but like a Hoover. What's a Hoover got to do with a plane? I wonder. Well, here we go. Paul needed to pee. Problem was, they were on a plane to Gran Canaria, him and his girlfriend. Paul really didn't like using the toilets on aircrafts because he had a secret fear of being sucked out of the plane when he flushed the toilet, like a speck of dust being dragged into the mouth of a hungry Hoover. Paul never took the risk and always remained strapped in his seat when he flew. But he needed. He really needed. "Janet," he suddenly declared, "I'm going to have to go to the toilet." "Now hold on, Paul," exclaimed Janet. She slapped him on the arm. "The plane is coming into land. The seatbelt sign is on. You can't get up and go the noo." "No, Janet," stated Paul very seriously as he got up from his seat. "You ken me well. I wouldn't chance it in one of these plane toilets unless it was absolutely necessary." Racing down the aisle towards the door, passengers peered over their seats like anxious meerkats. Who was this guy getting up when the plane was coming into land? How would he not notice the seatbelt sign? Was everything okay? "Paul!" shouted Janet. "I can't hold it any longer, Janet," cried Paul. He was clearly in a state of distress. "Oh, just be a second." "But Paul—" It was too late. As Paul tightly grasped the handle and flung open the door, he instantly realized that this was not the door to the toilet. It was the emergency exit. There we go. There we go. There's the story. So Paul, poor Paul, didn't want to go. He hated aircraft toilets. I don't like aircraft toilets very much either. So he was only using it as a last resort. He'd held on all flight and was like, "No, I need to go." Where's Janet there telling him, "Paul, you've got the wrong door." And now he opened the fire exit, the emergency exit even. Maybe out of the plane, sucked like a Hoover, went Paul, which leads back to the title. So, it's a funny story. Don't worry, it's not a true story. It's just one made up. Okay? Let's look then at the actual structure of this story. Okay, you might look at it and go, right, there's a story. But it's good to actually think about how has it been pieced together. There's 4 parts to this story. Take you through them one by one. Firstly, we open with a short sentence here. Paul needed to pee. Kind of tells you everything that the story is about. Paul needed to pee. There we go. Short sentence. Get the reader's attention. That's what that does. Right away, boom. The reader knows what's going on. Paul needed to pee. Right, cool. But we want a wee bit more detail. So after that, in the next paragraph, we set the scene. What does that mean? Well, a scene is where a story takes place. And when you set the scene, it means you're setting up the scene. So you're letting the reader know what's happening and where the story is going to take place. So we've got a short sentence, then we set the scene. So that's like the beginning of the story. Then there's a very large middle section. It's huge, that middle section there. It's what we call a section of dialogue. There's lots of speech, isn't there? The characters are speaking to one another to say what's happening in the story. And I know from Fantastic Mr. Fox last term, great use of speech marks, and we're getting really good at it. Remember, every time a new character speaks, you would take a new line for your speech mark. But there we've got Janet. He suddenly declared, "I'm going to have to go to the toilet." New line now, because that was Paul, this is Janet speaking. "Hold on, Paul," exclaimed Janet. And back, another line. "No, Janet," stated Paul. There we go. So all of that, really, is dialogue telling us what's going on. So that's our middle. And finally, at the end, we've got just a couple of lines there to give us our twist. It wasn't the toilet door, it was the emergency exit door that Paul opened. So there you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. At the beginning, we've got a short sentence and setting the scene. In the middle, we've got all that dialogue, all those speech marks. And then at the end, so short end, just the twist right there. And so, that's what I'd like you to try and do today with one of your story plans. Hopefully from the last lesson, like I said, you've got a beginning, a middle, and end plan. And what I want you to do is use the structure that we just looked at in this story to write your own. So start with a short sentence and set the scene at the beginning. In the middle, we'd like to get some speech marks in there, a little bit of speech going on. And then at the end, that's where you drop in your twist. Okay, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Follow the structure. Be great if you could start with a short sentence, and be excellent if you could use some speech marks. Good luck with this. This is a big and a challenging task to ask you to do, but it's really for me to see how we're getting on with things here. So when we get back into the classroom, I know where to go with our writing. So, good luck. I cannot wait to read what you come up with.